Hi, my name is Aksik, aka Annika, and at first I'm going to apologize to you because I probably sound like I imagine a congested anteater would sound. I have a cold or flu or whatever. It's contagious, I know that because I got it from my daughter. And my head is a bit fuzzy, and everything else is all over the place. My nose, my chest, whatever. So, if I sound a bit off or a lot off, I apologize once again. And today's video, I kind of was looking for a video theme that wouldn't take me much editing or, kind of a huge amount of prep or, kind of after work. So I had a customer, a viewer request that they wanted a review of Languo acrylic brush markers with kind of a bit of a comparison with other acrylic brush markers. And by brush markers, we this time mean this style of a marker that is the direct feed, direct ink marker, which has this kind of a feeding system. You get more liquid and opaque ink than in regular brush markers with these. So without further ado, I have 4 different types of it. I have GuangNa ones, which is the 120 pack. The lid of this box is here. You all probably know that box. Now there are way bigger sets out, but I don't think I'm going to get a bigger set. This set should do me fine. And then I have a selection of Languo ones, which look like this. How do GuangNa ones look? My ones look anyway like this. They have this black body, kind of a rainbow letters like this, and then Languo ones look like this. They have white body. They feel really nice in the hand. There's kind of something ergonomic about the design, the way it tapers, kind of the smooth plastic. They're really nice to hold, and I think they look nice as well. And these ones come in, they also come in kind of a big boxes and different layouts, like, stackable, transparent plastic boxes that click together by kind of colorways. You get this tower of them. There's so many ways, but I have bought them because I just, I want to choose, and I like the fact that I can choose very easily with these. I want to choose, which colors I get or which colorways, and I have kind of ended up picking up quite a lot of their 9 packs. They come in 9 packs. And then I also have these. I call them silver-bodied. Somewhere here, there's a writing that Google told me would say Jin or something like this, which, I don't really know if it was correct or if I pronounced it correct. There's no other brand information on them. They are to be found on the places like Temu and AliExpress. I will have a look if it's on Amazon.com as well. They have their good and bad sides. I got a couple of packets of these for the colors that I found. I kind of liked what I saw on the websites, and I felt I was kind of missing certain kind of steps of these colors. And then I also have these, which I don't know how to read that script. Okay, is it Hoele? Is it D or O, or is it O and L or D or B? What is it? But I kind of decided to call them in my head Hoele or Hoele markers. And also on the websites that sell these kind of big websites like Shein and and Temu and AliExpress often mark these as GuangNa new acrylic markers. Now, I have no proof of that. That might just be those websites kind of claiming something that is not actually GuangNa, because I have gone over the packaging, I have gone over the markers themselves with Google Translate, and I cannot see, you know, GuangNa anywhere written either in English or in Chinese. You know, maybe, you know, Google Translate is missing something, maybe I'm missing something, but I have suspicions. Maybe they are GuangNa, but I kind of doubt it for the reasons I am going to go into shortly. So what is the difference between them? Okay, let's put them into kind of like two different groups, and this will kind of, essentially there is no big difference. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple of different colors from here out as well, so there would be a bit of a variety. So they all work the same way. They are all acrylic, meaning that they are permanent after they dry. The difference is only really in paint consistency, the finish you get after it's dried, and whether or not how opaque it is, and whether or not you can really use pencils on top of it. And let's start with the fact that, you know, these two, GuangNa and Languo, are on more opaque side, and this set, these not surprisingly, these no-name ones and Hoele are on the less opaque side. Also, these have more matte finish, and these, especially if you do a couple of layers, have more of a satin finish, or almost glossy finish. And I'm going to show you now. Let's start with how they wash out, because this one I can tell you right away. Okay, so let's put writing here, and okay, right here. So this is Languo, GuangNa. This is silver. I really do not have other name for them. And this is Hoele. I think it's Hoele, but Hoele. I really don't know how, you know, whoever chose that script was not in the right mind of the day. It's just, who, why? But why I got them, there were a couple of interesting colorways that I wanted to get from these, and that I actually kind of recommend. I am going to show you from my my swatch book in a minute, but first how they behave. Okay, so for this we need a water brush. How is my water brush? Is it actually, yeah, it's what has water in it. And I'm going to pull out one of the random ones. Okay, and just put down a bit of color direct on the paper. And you can see this one blends out no problem. Now, what can happen, this is not just for this one, but with any of them, what can happen is that if you put it down on the paper, is that it sinks in fair bit very quickly, depending on the paper, of course. And if it does sink in very quickly, there's going to be a bit of a line here. It's going to be hard of it to get rid of. In this instance, it isn't there. But how it can be helped is that put a little bit of water down in the area where you actually put the pen down, but not in the area, like don't put it, you know, next to the line, because it will kind of spread a bit, and then spread it out, and you won't get that kind of a sharper line here because you put it down on the wet paper. But the way it has to be done, okay, let me get you closer, otherwise you can't see anything. the way it has to be done, once again, I'm going to get my brush clean, is, let's say the line is, let's put line down so it won't be confusing. Okay, let's say this is your line art. Okay. So you put the water down, not right next to it. You put it a little bit away, tiny bit, tiny gap. Okay. And the marker now, you put down, so the dry bit is next to the line art, or if you want to go over it, and then you can wash it out, and you're not going to get that kind of a sharp line here, like it can sometimes happen here. Anyways, you know, this doesn't really concern the quality of the markers, but this goes for all of them. Okay, so GuangNa, I did pull a couple of them out. Okay, I'm going to do the usual shake, 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 and put it down. And once again, it washes out fine. But here you could also see, you know, how there was initially that a bit of a line that I did, you know, kind of manage to blend out and wash over it with more opaque paint. But I don't see, sometimes to me it feels that Languo washes out slightly easier than GuangNa. That's kind of subjective and depends on the marker and depends on the day, but I have often felt that I get Languo to wash out faster and easier than GuangNa. Then let's see the silver marker. Okay, let's take these, go down very wet, but they are also not very opaque. So you have to work fast to wash them out. But on their own, I'm going to make a little kind of very quick square here afterwards to show how the pencil will go on top of it. I can put one here as well, but just one layer, okay? If you put 2 layers of any of them down, it's almost impossible to get the pencil down well. Just, you know, it will start getting satiny. So don't expect miracles. But if you work slowly, you get more opaque finish than if you work fast. That's another thing to remember, because if you work slowly, pull up and down slowly, it has time to put down more ink, whereas if you work fast, it doesn't really have time to put down that much ink. So this is just, you know, something that is useful to know. And then there's also the Hoele, and I have to take something purplish because I have very limited colors here at the moment with me. And the same story. It goes down pretty wet, but it dries very easily. But you can also wash it out, no problem. And you can go pretty much nothingness with it, as with any of them. And I can also put down a bit of a square here, just to show you later how the pencils will go on top. I let it to dry properly. Okay, here you can see that they all wash out fine. I often feel that Languo washes out the best, GuangNa being the next one. And these, because they are thinner in consistency and wetter, you have to work faster, these two, to wash them out. But you do, you know, it is possible, but you do need to work a bit faster with these two, the silver and the Hoele ones, if you happen to have these or get yourself these. But they have more matte finish on the kind of 1 layer or even 2 layers. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something that I kind of started, because otherwise this video would take ages. And then we're going to take a short break, and I'm going to show the second stage. Okay, so I think I have to move the camera a tiny bit back. Okay, so I did 4 backgrounds with 1 layer only, and I'm going to show you what the difference is and what pen did what with 1 layer only. So this is Hoele. This is that, I think, that marker, or possibly, you know, something very close to it anyways. This or this, you know, they're very similar. And this is how this looks just with 1 layer. As you can see, it's very streaky. But once again, you know, they go down pretty wet, but they are thinner. The paint is thinner. At the same time, if I move the paper, you can see that it's pretty much matte. So if you are working on one detail, like smaller areas, it only shows like this in bigger areas. But if you put down like a small area or small detail, you should be able to do a bit of pencil on top. I'm not saying huge amount, but you know, a bit. And then second one is here, and this is one of my beloved Camilla Garofano books. I still haven't gotten over them. And I did the sky here, and I did the sky. Let's get closer so you can see. Well, with naked eye, you can see better, but even through the camera, you can see that it's pretty patchy. And this one was done with these silver markers. Of all the markers of these 4 brands that I have, these ones go down kind of the wettest, but they are not opaque at all. But they are, and they also have a bit more of a shine to them than Hoele ones do. So they're kind of almost worst of the 4 of them, as far as, you know, my understanding goes. I do like that the silver bodied ones go down pretty much matte. You can see here. These ones, you know, in the areas where they're a tiny bit thicker, I don't know if the camera is catching it, but there is a bit of a sheen already happening. Okay, and now the stars of the show. We mainly were supposed to talk about Languos. The stars of the show, this side is now GuangNa, and this side is Languo, and they both have 1 layer. I will now, after I finish talking here, make a stop, put second layer on, and then show you what all these look with second layer. All right, so GuangNa, as I have said in previous videos sometimes as well, on its own is the most opaque. It is also, because it's the most opaque, you know, because you get the most down, starts getting the satiny sheen already. I don't know if you can see after 1 layer. But yes, they are the most opaque. So people who are looking for this really opaque effect, especially if you're doing like color by numbers or something like that, if you work slowly and kind of detailed areas, you might actually be able to get away with 1 layer if you do big areas like this, because, you know, I kind of need to start working faster, and, you know, the strikes get bigger, you know, strokes get bigger, and that's when it starts showing the brush texture. But it is kind of possible for smaller areas to actually get away with one layer. So they are, yes, the most opaque. Languo is not far behind. They have a bit less shiny finish here, but the bit less shiny finish is mostly because there's slightly less of it down. You know, it didn't come down as thickly as the other one. One thing now to remember is also that, you know, I took those blues. These are, I think, the older Languos. I think it feels to me that the newer ones, the ones that are starting from the colorful blacks and the dusty blues and advanced grays, they to me feel more opaque than the kind of older colors. This is just kind of my impression, slightly, but they do, you know, kind of on par with GuangNa. So I'm going to make a stop now, and I'm going to put down a second layer for all of them. Here come the results from the worst to the, well, debatable best. Sorry. This is now the Hoele marker. It has 2 layers on, and I don't know if you can see, but it still kind of wants a 3rd layer. The result is quite matte though, so I can imagine that you could still put some pencils on top of it. I don't want to do it in the same circle, obviously, because I do plan to put more marker. Actually, I will put more marker on top of it anyway, so let me just plunk down something. Okay, so here you are. This is Prismacolor, which will go down pretty much anywhere. And yes, you can absolutely put Prismacolor on top of it still. But of course, you know, blending isn't really, you have to ease the pressure, but it won't be like super clean, neat, soft blending effect, but you can get some pencil on top of it. Sorry, I will need to cough very soon. So this is now the Hoele. Surprisingly good result came with the silver-bodied ones. The first layer wasn't really anything much to write home about. It was quite patchy, but the second layer is pretty much awesome. Like, you don't need 3rd layer here, and you did get now with the second layer already this sheen also. Yeah, you can see that, you know, when I'm moving the paper. This one now became quite shiny. So with the second layer, wouldn't recommend try to put any pencils on top. Okay, I lifted the camera, sorry. And now the big reveal. This is now the result with Languo and GuangNa. And here you can see that with the second layer, both of them are pretty much all right. If you wanted to nitpick, then GuangNa finish is very slightly cleaner, but both of them have absolutely acceptable finishes with 2 layers. Also, another thing, GuangNa finish, if you see them next to each other, is way shinier than Languo finish. Now, this one comes with caveat, because I remembered that I have done quite a lot of the flat backgrounds with Languo, especially with the colorful blacks markers, and this is now Languo marker also. Or pretty sure it's Languo. Actually, it might have been, this one was Simtop, this one was Languo. So you can see from here that I do think that, I don't know if you can see them next to each other. It's still a little bit more matte than the GuangNa finish, but it's slightly shinier than the old Languo, as this is now colorful blacks. I do think, maybe I'm wrong, but I have this feeling that they might have kind of played with their ink consistency a little bit, and the newer markers are slightly more opaque. Don't take my word for it. It's just kind of a gut feeling here. But yes, GuangNa definitely, you know, of 4 of them, the most opaque. But 3 of them, both this silver-bodied one that doesn't have a brand, and Languo and the GuangNa, gave absolutely acceptable finish, you know, flat opaque finish. with 2 layers. So, you know, you decide which one you want. All of them eventually, like Languo, of the 3 of them, possibly is even, you know, the mattest, to be honest. Even that cheaper, you know, the this marker with 2 layers actually became quite satiny. So yeah, that much about the opaqueness, you know. That's all there is to say, really. If you want something opaque, I would not get this one, because you would need to do several layers. Kind of defeats the purpose of the direct feed marker, you know, if you wanted them for that. But both this and this and this, you can get a flat finish with 2 layers. And yeah, just difference in the finish. Okay, so next thing, the pencils. Okay, let's not take Prismas, because Prismas go on top of everything. Let's take something like Polychromos, and I'm taking kind of a similar color or something, you know, that wouldn't be very... Okay, so let's say I'm taking from Polychromos set, let's put this pencil, which is Carmine, just, you know, for interest, on top of the washed out acrylic. And of course it's fine here, like I color on the acrylic wash all the time, and I have lately now done acrylic washes often with acrylic markers like this. Okay, I'm bringing you closer because now you don't need to be that far. All right, and this is now full marker, and yes, with the 1 layer down Languo, you can still put and kind of softly blend out Polychromos type pencil, even, you know, which isn't the softest pencil. You can get it on top of it. Then GuangNa. Okay, let's keep the same pencil. And the same story. If it's washed out, you can pretty much, you know, no problem. Although it is slightly more resistant. Like, I do prefer Languo for my washes. I do feel that glossy finish, glossy satiny finish of GuangNa, you can get pencils on top, but it doesn't give the same toothiness as Languo does. So I do prefer for washes Languo. And on top of the 1 layer, just flat marker without wash, and it does resist a bit more than Languo does. Yeah, it used to be when I first started doing flat washes, I started with kind of newer Languo ones, so it felt almost to me that Languo was more shiny at first and more satiny, but actually it's opposite. GuangNa has more of a, you know, kind of a satiny finish, you know, more slippery finish, which is harder for pencils. Now for the other pencils, rather brush markers, let's take dark blue here. So the silver bodied ones, so these ones, which, you know, I can definitely link them from Temu and such, but I don't know if I can find them on Amazon.com. But yes, you know, on washes, and like these, you know, once you wash them out, putting down the wash itself can be even tricky. Not tricky, but you have to work fast because it is a bit thinner consistency. So not to get those kind of harsh lines, you have to work in small areas and kind of wash it out very fast the moment you put it down on the paper. But you can totally, as you can see, you know, blend it out, no problem. And, you know, put pencil on top of it. I don't, it's not going to be visible there, is it? No. Okay. Let's see if the carmine is going to be. And on one layer of this marker, also, absolutely, you can get some pencil down and you can softly kind of release the pressure and get kind of soft blend out, which is almost invisible on the camera, but it's there and it worked pretty well. And then the last one here is Hoele. And so again, of all these, I actually possibly don't like the pencils. Let me kind of keep going. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's fine. You know, silver ones were better actually for some reason. Like felt better pencils on top. This one you can get the pencil on it fine, but it has, I don't know, a bit scratchier texture. It's hard to get down smoother. And let's see, on the one layer thing, it's quite dark, so it's hard to show. Yeah, on one layer without washing, you can actually get the pencil down very well, and you can also kind of release the pressure on the pencil and kind of blend it out very softly with itself, kind of like this. So yeah, all of them can take the pencil on top if it's just one layer, but with GuangNa it's the hardest, and of course when they're washed out they can all accept the pencil. So what else? So why? Because, you know, as I'm saying it now here, it sounds that they're pretty much all equal. You know, there's no differences between them. Yeah, there are, but not huge differences between them. So why do I use Languo so much? And you know, GuangNa I tend to use if I put down something flat. Languo I tend to use a lot for kind of blending and playing with it and washing it out and trying different techniques with it. And the simple answer to it is, this, colors. Languo, I think from these are now the GuangNa colors. That's 120 set. Okay, let's turn it one right way around. And it's nice wide palette, but even with that nice and pretty, you know, kind of, there are some kind of more difficult greens here, and there are some more interesting grays. There are some super light tones as well. But I find that Languo has more, you know, of some interesting colors. For example, these sage greens, which some of them you can actually kind of find quite close equivalents in 120 set of GuangNa, but not all of them. It might be that, you know, they are in the bigger sets, but I really don't want to get a bigger set because, you know, this 120 I already have, and it, you know, feels quite, you know, enough for me. I don't want to have another huge set on my desk just to have a couple of colors that are missing from this 120 set, which is why I like that Languo comes in these kind of color sets. The curated color sets, you know, there's blues like this. There's, you know, here are the advanced grays series, which I really like. You know, I can show from here, you know, this is just the regular grays are also quite interesting, but the sage greens are beautiful. There's dusty blues. Look at these. these are regular blues now, but these dusty blues are just beautiful for kind of a stormy skies and landscapes. And so are the sage greens, you know, they give really nice kind of a distance for the landscapes. There's what else is there that is really kind of appeals to me? There Mylards, which is kind of like muted and more cool browns. There are, you know, one or two warmer browns here as well, but there are kind of interesting muted browns. But your browns are by default muted, but you know what I mean, kind of a vintagey browns. The advanced gray is a beautiful set for loads of things, from roads to walls to rocks to mushroom stems to, you know, whatever, you know, if you use them flat and undiluted, or if you wash them out and, you know, create kind of undertones with it. It's a really useful set. So another one that is absolutely, you know, I have not seen equivalent colors in GuangNa is this set, which is called Color for Blacks. And I have two, and I want to order more just in case they decide that they won't do it anymore, because I'm terrified of running out. I use this set so much for backgrounds, and also for sometimes for just, you know, kind of putting darker shading in and washing it out. Fantastic, fantastic set. The light color one, I thought I would use more, but I haven't really used very much, but it is a really good option to have for kind of softening the lines and putting in highlights. I love the dopamine set for different kind of, once again, highlights and creating light effects, or just kind of fun little elements on the page. So yeah, this is, you know, why I really, really like Languo. It's mostly the color choices and the way that they all come. You can get them in big sets, but I can also just choose to get specific colorways. And when I'm topping them up, let's say, you know, if I run out of something in these big ones, and it's not a color that is in many of the smaller sets, then that's it, you know, I'm out of it. Whereas Languo, if it's one of those smaller sets, it is still easier to replace, because I don't have to buy 120 set or 48 set or whatever. I can just buy 9 set. So, you know, as you know, they're not available open stock, but that's the closest, you know, I can get to the open stock. And of course, you know, price wise, they are quite friendly. There's two things why I ordered these markers, the Hoele markers. This is how they come. There's at least 2 of them which I ordered, 3 packets I have ordered of them. One is this, which I liked because it had kind of interesting colors, also kind of dark colors, but more bright dark colors, which are great for kind of washing out and, you know, creating more of a how do you say, deeper shading if you do pages with acrylic markers, washing them out. These are great for that. And these colors are kind of, you know, hard to find. Kind of, they are fairly bright but still dark. So I like this set. That set I wanted. And another set, I don't know where it is at the moment, but I can show you the swatch of it. Is that set. These greens, is kind of a golden greens, are also in Hoele markers, and, you know, I might not like them in big flat washes, but I do like some of their colors, and I really like that set. You know, it's quite unique. It's hard to find these colors. Even in, you know, this set here, in the big set, there's very few of something that would be similar. You know, maybe this color here is slightly similar to, you know, these you know, this color, you know, these 2 colors. But it's actually hard to find, you know, from deep to golden, these kind of olivey yellow greens, and it's really beautiful. And it has, you know, kind of goes in nice gradient as well, and you can do nice variations with it. And also, you know, would work really well with all sorts of autumn pages. So I wanted to get these colors, and also I discovered that I didn't really have many kind of purples or pinks, because I don't tend to order them because they're not my favorite colors as such. So I tend to forget about them when I'm ordering them. And then I discovered when I needed them on the page that I didn't really have much except on the big GuangNa set, but I wanted, you know, like Languo or something more, for me, washable. So I got these in Hoele as well. It was a big set of 24, and it had a really good and interesting variety of different purples and burgundies and violets. You know, and some of them really deep and dark, and some of them, you know, nice and pretty opaque. As you can probably see from these swatches, actually one thing, you know, to pay attention to. Sometimes people complain that, you know, one or other marker is, you know, more opaque than another. It also goes by, you know, what color it is. In the same marker set, some colors can be way more opaque than others. This is a Languo set, for example. It's just green. And you can see here, because this is a basically dot journal, you can see dots through a couple of colors. The light colors tend to be, or lighter colors, tend to be less opaque than the very dark ones. So sometimes it's not down to the specific brand, it's just the color we're talking about and the paint consistency and the specific marker. So there's no guarantee really. You know, you can't say, you know, all Languo markers are less opaque than all, you know, GuangNa markers. It kind of varies and shuffles itself a bit. So you need to kind of experiment. But one thing that is definite is that, yes, you know, there is a difference in the finish. You know, this is no paint consistency thing, you know, and what paint they use. You know, GuangNa, the big sets anyway, they are definitely have shinier finish than Languo. This is matter of taste. I prefer matte finish often. Many people like the shinier finish more. This is absolutely, you know, down to what you like and what you don't like, and there's no right and wrong here, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, I hope that you found, you know, once again, in my typical review, I didn't really say that one is better than another. I'm just saying that, you know, there's differences and there's different things you can do with them, and they're all, you know, usable and useful in their own way. It's just my preference, you know, the way I color tends to run towards these, which are Languo markers. I do like some colors in this line, which is Hoele, but marker itself, if I had to do flat coloring, I would not choose that marker. I would need to do at least 3 layers to get opaque finish. I like these have, the color choices aren't now super interesting, but, you know, there's a good variety of colors. These, for example, you know, these are the blues here. So it's kind of fairly typical kind of your blue run, but they are good colors, and they wash out. Pencils go on top of well, and 2 layers of marker is enough to get a flat finish. And of course then these ones, which are the GuangNas, have more shiny finish, flat finish. Also will let you to get opaque flat finish in 2 layers, and will also be okay for washing out, although I do prefer Languo and pretty much all other ones for washing out. This is once again personal preference thing, you know, don't shoot me. don't shoot the messenger. You know, I just like how they behave and how pencils behave on top of these 3 lines better than how they behave on GuangNa. Maybe it's to do with the opaqueness of GuangNa, something they've added. It kind of feels, either it gets too rough or kind of, you know, more slippery, but I do prefer pencils on these best. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope you got some information out of here. I apologize if I was all over the place. As I said, I am not feeling well. You can probably hear my voice is going now. And, you know, the flu is raging. I have fever on and off. So my head is a bit cotton woolly. Sorry about that. So thank you. And hopefully you'll have a lovely time. Hopefully you're healthy and happy and have fun.